Thank you, Representative Schoolcraft. I see that in your amendment, the term sexual orientation is not defined. Well, how do you define it?
Actually, I believe in statute it is defined. I don't have it in front of me.
What is your idea of sexual orientation?
I don't know that I can define it because it's a very fluid term. It could mean a lot of things.
Give me some examples.
Well, let's see. Sexual orientation would be...
What is your sexual orientation, by way of example?
Let's just stick with what's in the bill as far as we don't want to talk about me.
Well, I just thought illustratively, you might be able to generalize from your specific experience. What is your orientation?
Well, you tell me. You tell me what you think.
Members will confine their remarks to the amendment.
I'm unable to know your orientation, and that's why it would be difficult for me to answer the question you posed. So let's try to navigate what you just said is a very fluid thing. What is the basket of things that sexual orientation might consist of?
Well, it seems to be changing fairly routinely. Is a cultural matter. Socially, letters keep getting added. It could range anywhere from heterosexuality to well, just a lot of different orientations.
All right, so I'm not sure that it's any clearer from that definition. How about gender identity? How do you define gender identity as opposed to sexual orientation?
Well, I define gender identity as male or female.
Okay.
However, there seems to be some confusion over that.
So a person can identify as a male or a female?
Let me continue with
Yeah.
this. The whole gender thing is gotten very, very complex, it seems, because I was looking at a website getting ready for this discussion, a group called the Gender Sexuality Alliance. They're ones pushing some of these clubs in our schools, and I noticed that when you applied to be part of their organization, someone's expected to specify what their pronouns are, which of course are related to their gender identity. And the list they provided, so I guess they're experts at this, started with...
Would you qualify them as experts in this area?
With he, him, his, okay. The next ones were she, her, hers, okay. Then it was they, them, theirs, and then E/I/am/IS.
Or what does that refer to?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Those are pronouns that people can select to identify under.
So you would agree
it's
then... me/nem/nymphs,
or XE/XEM/XYRS.
So you believe that is the universe of. So again, that seems to be pretty broad, does it not? And would you agree with that?
Sure, it can be very broad. That's one reason that it's very difficult for somebody who's not trained in following curriculum and so forth to really provide this kind of guidance or to get involved in this.
Okay, so it sounds like in both of your answers, gender identity is broad and sexual orientation is broad. What about parental rights? This bill is about parental rights, is it not?
Well, that's among other things, yes.
Okay, so it's about parental rights. And what if I, as a parent, wanted to give my child permission to attend a club at school that has an affinity for a certain orientation or identity, gender identity? Would that be allowed under your amendment?
Well, state policy, what we have done in our education code is provided that human sexuality is to be dealt with in schools under sex education classes using curriculum and parameters set about by the State Board of Education.
But let's be clear, currently there are clubs based on orientation, sexual orientation, or gender identity. So if I wanted to give my daughter permission to form that club or attend that club, your amendment trumps my right as a parent. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you would not be permitting a parent to provide permission, right? The government instead would be telling a parent whether they could provide permission. Is that correct?
That would be correct. Also,
Okay.
I would also be reflecting, and my decisions would affect all the other parents and all the other students on that campus, not just this one parent. That's
so
why
your
we have.
view-
That's why we have a policy that applies around the state when it affects a lot of people.
So as a
everyone.
politician in Austin, you would supplant your judgment via this amendment for the judgment of a parent who wanted their child to participate in these clubs.
No, I would apply my position and my decision here based on what I think is best for the entire population, including the parents and the other students in that school.
So what you think is best is more important than what a parent thinks it's best, just to be clear.
When it comes to state policies, that's
Okay.
what we do all the time. Every policy we pass here is our determination of what it is best for our citizens and our constituents.
So just to be clear, you think your judgment on whether a parent should be able to allow their child to sponsor a student club based on sexual orientation or gender identity would preclude a parent from doing that. Your judgment, it will supersede the parent's right to do so.
No, this actually wouldn't supersede the parent's right to do anything. This determines whether or not that club exists.
Right, but if a parent gave their child permission to sponsor this club, to participate in this club, you're going to say no, right?
If we determine that these clubs should not exist on campus, then what I say has nothing to do with the parent's decision. They don't have a decision to make. There's no club.